Welcome to Trade of the Week Mondays, where what we try to do is give you a free trade from our systems and from our algorithms that we're looking for this week. Now, usually I try to give you something that already triggered that looks nice. In this case, nothing has triggered, and a lot of things are actually far from the trigger. So that tells me it's going to be probably a pretty calm weekend. Or week. So we'll talk a little bit about that, and then I'll give you a name right off the bat that I think could be interesting if it ends up triggering. So first of all, that name is EVER, EverQuote. Again, no idea what these companies do. That's just all a systematic approach of I have backtested things for 30 some odd years. And if this pulls back into the 1870s, over that time period, there's 60% chance it bounced from that in about a week. So that's what we look for is we just try to play those odds in our favor over and over and over again. It helps us stay away from all the news and the craziness and everything that's going on and just focus entirely what we see on the chart. So the reason that this one stands out as opposed to a lot of other ones is if you zoom out, you can really see how important this kind of $18 area has been. With support back here and over here and over here and resistance there and support here and support here. So a lot of action in this zone, which just tells me if we get there on top of the statistics, I can just use a little bit of technical analysis and say, okay, well, there's been a lot of interest there before. So it makes sense that that interest is potentially there again. So the reason I'll tell you why nothing's really triggering too much is just because of what we're seeing in the market. Nice big gap up here today and some continuation from that gap, at least for now, right? If we go into the 30-minute chart here, you can see we were not fading from the gap. That's why I have this kind of drawn here. We're holding that gap pretty well after we've gapped up. So generally speaking, at Stats Edge, we've got a bunch of different systems. We got some trend following systems, some pullbacks, some mean reversion, all of these different systems. However, when the market broke down here, the trend following systems kind of went to cash and they said, listen, this is a bit of a bear market. It's a bit of a worrisome market. So what we're going to do is take those to cash and then we're going to start playing mean reversion. And the reason for that is because just tested over the long run. The reason I test back for so long is I want to see what happened in the dot-com bubble and the great financial collapse and all of these markets. And it showed that playing these oversold bounces can be very lucrative in this time where, for example, right, on this day right here, we actually bought some Palantir and this thing. So that's right where this purple line is and up 40 some odd percent of that. And again, not magic. It's just saying that in bear markets, you generally have these overextensions down that end up getting bought up and things end up moving higher. So that's kind of what we're playing right now. So a lot of the setups that we're looking for look just like that. They look for a big extension down. We're trying to buy, so EVR, for example, this thing has been oversold. So we're looking for a little bit of a more of extension lower, and then we're looking to pick it up around that price and then have some sort of a quick bounce that we can then just get out of and take our money on. Like again, with Palantir, we're not holding this expecting it to go back to highs. It might, but we're just looking for this kind of quick bounce. So that's why nothing is triggered right now. And, if the SPY continues to hold this range and hold this gap up, we might not get any triggers, but that's okay because what we're doing is we're trying to play that edge. And in the meantime, no triggers gives me more time to do other things where we're trying to look at day trading strategies. I'm building a few day trading strategies in the Stats Edge. I'm looking at building crypto strategies. I'm looking at building more swing trading strategies. The idea that I always have and the goal that I'm always going for is as many uncorrelated strategies as possible. That's the goal, is that having two strategies that have the same kind of return profile, they're right at the same time and wrong at the same time, doesn't really help us. We're looking for uncorrelated return streams in which when strategy A isn't doing well, strategy B is doing fine, and vice versa. So that hopefully if you manage risk correctly and over the long run, you always have something that's making up for the losses of others, so that you end up making money over time. So that's what we're doing. That's why there's not many triggers. It gives us a lot of time to look and to work at other things. If you're interested in learning more or giving us a try, going over to statsedgetrading.com. Every one of the algos is listed there. You can read all about them, and you can sign up for it there as well. So again, EVR around the $19 area, $18.50 to $19. If we can get a pullback there that week, I like the look of that one. So till I see you next time, get away from the screens.